when I say trance, I don't mean the Svengali kind of thing, and I'm not even talking about medically as a clinical hypnotherapist, which I did for a number of years. I'm talking about unifying your experience of inner reality and outer reality through your third eye. And this is something that has happened to me spontaneously. I can tell you it's a real experience, and you can manage it. But I believe this is one thing, this opening of our third eye is very, very important to the idea of 2012.
Seems to be opening up even bigger and bigger now, John.
Yeah, it is.
And as more and more people begin to become more aware of this, can they alter the outcome if the outcome indeed is going to be catastrophic?
They can certainly become more tuned to their options, and it depends again on our, resources. I mean, how old are we? If I was 85, to be honest with you, and I had a beachfront home in Laguna or in Miami, hey, surf's up. Just let it come on. Even if I saw it, I just say it's a great way to go. It's a good day to die. If I'm 25 years old and I got 2 small children and I'm living on a coastline, I would want to give serious thought to trying to maybe find employment elsewhere, and that can be difficult today, especially.
Sure, it is difficult. Yeah.
It is difficult. I mean, I understand the feeling of being trapped. I can understand how that would just, be one of the most awful scenarios to experience right now. When I saw these visions years ago, I took action and I moved inland 320 miles off the West Coast because of what I had seen, and so I took action. But again, those around me, professional people that knew what I had shared with them, they were respectful because I think they trusted me, but they said, no way, it's not going to happen. Well, they are stuck. Many of them are in big homes that they cannot liquidate, and they're not going to move. And so, again, though, that's the part, I think, the tough part for someone who's a visionary. You really can't help anyone that doesn't want to be helped.
No, that's true, too. And what about negativity? Where does that equate, John, in this equation? People who surround themselves with this negativity all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they're suffocating in their own waste, as Chief Seattle would put it. Emotions are very toxic. They're our greatest gift. One of our great blessings, too, are the feelings of joy and love and all these wonderful feelings that we can have on a sunny day when the birds are singing and the butterflies are flying in front of us. But on the other hand, like you say, if you immerse yourself in looking for the very dire outcome on every event, you're really poisoning your system. We know that now. You're suppressing your immune system. And so the idea to me is to be fully awake in the moment, but also be aware that you have options in terms of how you feel about something.
What do you mean, how you feel about something?
Well, for example, I read the news. I'm an information junkie. Like I said, I'm a futurist, and I look for trends.
Sure.
I mean, I can look at Drudge Report. I can look at the wire services. I can see those events, but I don't allow them to immediately trigger an "oh my God" reaction emotionally. I went, that's interesting. God bless those that have survived any particular natural disaster. Is there something I can do? Usually not, of course. I'm just one person. But things like that. I mean, you can say, oh, I can see that this pattern, there's a pattern there of whatever the event might be, and that basically what you try to do is self-empower yourself and take responsibility for realizing that you're part of a grander vision of our future. That's where I get my optimism. I'm not Pollyannish, but what I see is that no matter what happens to me and my family, it's going to be okay in the long run for the human species, and I believe in survival after death, obviously, because of the near-death experience people that I've interviewed. So, again, I have this buffer that protects me a little bit from this negativity.
Well, I agree with that. If you can surround yourselves with incredible positiveness, it's going to have an effect on you. You have to do that.
Yes.
We're human beings. We're going to have our ups and downs in life.
Sure.
And by and large, some things just aren't going to go the way we want them to. But when they do, it's like magic, John.
It is, and those are what I call magnetic moments. And one of the benefits of my writings and research and all that is that I can self-regulate now a lot of that magnetic power that the shaman knows about, and you can do it through diet, you can do it through meditation. But the bottom line is that's what we're called to do now, is to regulate our magnetic fields. In my opinion, for example, when they tested Uri Geller years ago, one of the Stanford professors that looked at the data, and they says, "My God, he's a walking magnet." I mean, that really resonated with me when I saw that report, and it's true. I have this experience whenever I want it. And that's what healing is about. That's where you get your immune system to an optimal level. And healers like Joyce Hawkes, for example, in Seattle, who had a very powerful near-death experience and talks about it and has written books. But Joyce Hawkes, she's somebody I highly recommend, that she's the real deal. And so, again, we're coming into this idea of shamans of the 21st century that I write about. We're all called to be initiated into this new energy.
What would you recommend to someone who is under incredible stress but needs to be able to push through it? What do you tell them to do?
The first thing, in my opinion, to do is get your system cleaned up. I mean, look at your diet, look at what you're eating. Most of us, when we get under stress, we're going to try to self-medicate, and that's natural, and don't beat yourself up over it. But the thing of it is, if you get out of balance, if you're not optimally fed through either supplementation — I take a lot of supplements myself, just name it, and I probably take some form of it, from vitamin C's to omega-3s to, on and on, good liquid vitamin that has all the organic fruits and vegetables in it. I don't take any pill form, but enzymes in particular will help you. And so once you get yourself fed well, you'll start feeling well. Your stress level will actually maybe not subside, but you'll be able to deal with it in a stronger way. So that would be number one, to get fit and get fed right, and then look at what's going on. Probably not the crisis you think it is, and there's plenty of resources out here. Reach out and touch someone literally in your community that has ideas, that's creative, that is optimistic, and is a problem solver.
And just stay at it.
Stay at it. Just hang in there. That's right, George. Just never give up. Never say die. Persevere. It's like Albert Einstein, when he was asked about his genius, he said, it's 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration.
So true. Stay with us. We're going to take phone calls next with John Jay Harper, 2012. That's just one of them on Coast to Coast AM. John Jay Harper, our special guest. We're going to take your phone calls next on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back. We're with John Jay Harper. We're going to take your phone calls now for the next hour and a half as we also continue to chat with him about these changes. John, what's your latest work, by the way? I mean, you never stop.
Well, as an editor, I've been working with others and producing other books. One, real quick, is with David Oakford, a wonderful young man in Michigan that had a near-death experience a number of years ago, a Navy veteran too, by the way, and we put out a book called Journey Through the World of Spirit, and talks about some of the things we're talking about this evening, George.
All right, to some of the calls we go. Let us go to our first-time caller line. Shane in Pennsylvania, you're on the air with us. Hi, Shane.
Hello, Mr. Noory. How are you tonight?
Wonderful. Thanks for calling, Shane.
Yes, I had a question for your guest. A lot of stuff happens at the bars in southwestern Pennsylvania. One time I was at the bar, and I heard that the poles actually on the Earth, they actually switched around January 1st, 2008, but we just can't really measure it yet. And I heard that was true because the Aztec calendar is actually off by 5 years because of a theory known as the unified theory of inorganic matter. And I wasn't sure if he'd heard about that or if it was just some drunk, crazy guy making up stories.
I think you've got a lot of mixed metaphors going on there in terms of the the data. First of all, yes, we'd absolutely know when the poles shifted dramatically. Maybe the person was confused about what that means. There's an electromagnetic pole shift, and there's a literal flipping of the planet idea. Very controversial, but there's data that shows that rocks, for example, have had their fields suddenly reversed, so it happened real quick. But no, that's not something I'm aware of happening now.
All right, next up, let's go to Dale in Las Vegas, Nevada. You're on the air with us. west of the Rockies. Hi, Dale.
Hi.
Yes,
I wanted
sir.
to ask, if I end up in the hospital for a procedure, I called you about a year ago. I was in ICU with some open heart surgery